what not to do after you complete your sales training program. So I see a lot of people that come into the space, go through their sales training that are completely, and again, I don't want this to sound disrespectful, but I come across and I've spoken to hundreds of people, thousands of people that are just completely naive, they're gullible, and they don't know how to put their ego aside. The premise of this is because, again, this goes back to the big lie. You were introduced to the online space of high ticket sales. You were pitched and sold that this was going to be easy and that anybody could do it with, little to no sales experience. And so you've trained with the best, right? You know who the sales gurus out there, like, again, but that goes into you being maybe a little naive, like you don't know what you don't know about the high ticket sales space, but you look up to these sales gurus and, it doesn't get any better than these people. You like, showcasing their name and really talking about them. But at the end of the day, like, again, if you're struggling to find a line of quality sales opportunity, typically there was a gap within their sales training or what it is that they offered you. And now you're struggling. So they might have been really good at sales and their sales training, but just understand and realize that, again, this is entrepreneurship. And you did not learn everything that you needed to learn about the high ticket sales space within that training, within that $3,000 to $10,000 investment. And so just be very clear of that, like understand, like you can't just fixate, upon graduation that, hey, I learned everything that I needed to learn. I'm good to go. Hey, if you guys are trying to pitch or sell me something, I don't need it. I don't want it. Like, I'm good to go. I was taught, I was trained, and that's not the case. And so don't be so naive coming into the space thinking that you've got it all, like you're prepared, you're ready to go. Because as time goes on, you're going to start to realize and understand that you don't have all the skill sets, you don't have all the tools and resources that are going to actually help you transition into the high ticket sales space. So don't be so naive when you're connecting with people, when you're doing outreach, and if people are offering you help, this, that, and the other thing, or hey, maybe it's a coaching program, whatever that looks like, don't be so naive. Don't be so narrow-minded and speak to that, because honestly, like, I've helped a lot of people, but I've also had a lot of people that I have had initial conversations with where it's like, Thomas, I'm good. Made this investment. Like, they already taught me everything that I need to know. I don't need any more training. I just need a job. Well, guess what? Like, if you're struggling to land a job, it's because you're ill prepared. They didn't show you how. They didn't teach you how. And that's another skill set. So don't be that guy. Don't be so naive to the point where you're closed-minded just because you made one investment, like you're good to go, because clearly you're not good to go. So don't be so naive. What I mean by don't be gullible. So in reality, I'm sure that most of you guys have been pitched, you've been cold DM'd, people trying to sell you something, right? We can't be so gullible. And I want to really share this with you guys because I think it's super important. Like, I talked about it on the previous module, due diligence and research. Due diligence and research is super important. And so you can't believe everything that everyone says. Just because, whether it's in a VSL, their marketing, because there's a lot of bullshit out here. And so to protect yourself, you've got to be able to do the due diligence and research, asking people, asking for help, asking for insight, asking for feedback, checking reviews, social wins and testimonials and things of that nature, right? So don't be so gullible to just say, oh, wow, this sales training has a guarantee. Oh, and it's got a job placement. Oh, and they do recruit for me and they're going to find, like, you can't believe in everything that you hear and everything that you see. And so don't be so gullible. Like, you should always ask questions, investigate it. Super important, right? We just don't just, we can't be handing out our credit card because it's not going to serve you well. So, there's going to come a point in time where it's like, okay, shame on, you got me once, but hey, moving forward, I need to be a little bit more analytical, and obviously wanting to do my due diligence and my research. It doesn't say that everything, I'm not saying that everything out there is a scam, but we just want to make sure that we're making the right investment for where we're at in our journey, what it is that we're needing, what makes sense for your wallet, and what makes sense for your mindset, who can truly help you here. So it's good to speak to a lot of people, network, and ask questions. Super important, especially if you're wanting to transition into the high ticket sales space. And then thirdly here, put your ego aside. Your ego is not going to serve you well in this space, especially if you are new. If you think that you know, you don't. If you're being trained by the best, it doesn't mean you are the best. And hey, you're going to get to that level. And so it's perspective. Other people offer value and insight. And so if you come to the space with an ego thinking that you know it, hey, you're good, I don't need anything else, I just need a job. Like, I hate that one, mind you, like I hear that one quite a bit. Thomas, already went through your sales training, I just need a job. I just, like, that really bugs me. That's ego. That's you being naive. And so clearly something's not working if you just need a job, right? But that's your ego kind of getting in the way, and it's not going to serve you well, not in this space or any other space. Like, we've got to be humble, we've got to be vulnerable, we've got to be open to feedback, but at the same time, like, you've got to be vulnerable enough to put yourself out there and ask for help and ask questions. So leave your ego out of this. Like, there is no room for your ego when it comes to entrepreneurship. That goes back to mindset. So those are three reasons. Those are three things that we need to kind of let go of. And it's definitely not, what not to do after you've completed your sales training. We've got to be coachable. We got to be open, but we've got to do our due diligence. And we've got to be very mindful that not everyone is looking out for the betterment or our best interest, if you will. So we just need to do a better job of seeing through the bullshit. So I hope this makes sense.